starting off, I'll just do a really quick review and update on what's happening on the litigation front. As you guys know, there was a suit filed in September of 2019. An injunction hearing was heard in October of 2019, and that injunction was denied later that month by the judge in the 67th District Court in Fort Worth. The plaintiffs in that, they appealed the denial of the injunction, and that appeal was submitted in November, but wasn't actually heard until March. And also in March of this year, the third appeals court down in Austin, or I'm sorry, no, in November of last year, the second appeals court in Austin, they overturned large portions of the Austin short-term rental ordinance as being unconstitutional, which then led the plaintiffs for the short-term rental ordinance here in Arlington to file a motion to reconsider with the district judge in the 67th over in Fort Worth. And that's a motion to reconsider his denial of the injunction in the first place. Hearings were held for both the appeal in the appeals court in Fort Worth in March, as well as the district court. That one was also held in March. And on April 27th, the 67th District Court came back and said in answer to the motion to reconsider, he said that he was not changing his mind on that and that he was still denying the injunction, which puts it in the hands of the second appeals court, and they have not yet ruled on this. That ruling could come any day now, but you never really know. It seems like things slowed down a lot when COVID kind of popped on the scene back just a few months ago. So we're still waiting to hear back on that, but that's kind of where the litigation is at this point. So as it stands, still 90% of short-term rentals in Arlington are banned. And in fact, we've gone from several hundred down to just a few dozen short-term rentals that currently exist in Arlington at the moment as a result of the ordinance. As well as there are so far hundreds of people who've been cited, taken to court for nothing other than advertising a short-term rental, which the court is taking as, if you have a listing on Airbnb and it does not explicitly say you may not rent for less than 30 days, they're calling you guilty of advertising a short-term rental in Arlington. They've issued tons of fines for that, and as well as misdemeanor violations, so giving people a criminal record for it. And while doing that, the city has refused to go through the normal process for code enforcement, where they give you a notice of violation first and then come back later to check and see if that violation still exists and then fine you. They've gone straight to the citation with that first visit. And after that first citation, instead of waiting for the court date or giving you additional notice, they've gone back a week later and added a second notice, which was a misdemeanor criminal citation.
Really?
Giving a lot more criminal citations than probably they really even needed to, which to my mind, the way that they're handling this is like there's a vendetta against the short-term rental industry here in Arlington, and they are really looking to make this as painful as possible for all short-term rental owners. I know for a fact that Helen Moise, the District 1 council member, she has been at the court hearings specifically to make sure that it was being carried out in a harsh way to, I believe her goal is to dissuade people from doing short-term rentals. Whether her goal is legally or illegally, I mean, she stated before that she really believes that they should all be gone. And the group that formed Citizens Assisting Code Enforcement, they've explicitly stated as well that their goal is to eventually get rid of all short-term rentals in Arlington. So that's kind of where this is going. I think it's unfortunate that the city council and our municipal court system is being used as a tool to handle these personal vendettas and not even using the normal city procedure to do this. But that's kind of where we're at for now. And I don't think anything's going to change until we see changes in the city council, which is one of the reasons why I'm running against Helen Moise in District 1. And I won't speak for Ruby Faye, but she's also running for District 6. And Ruby, if you wanted to say anything about that, you're welcome to take the mic for a minute. Not to put you on the spot there.
Okay, I just want to say that it's time for everybody in Arlington to be represented on city council, and that's not the case now. So I want to be everyone's representative with an ear open and a mind that is committed to change. So I support short-term rentals. I'm asking for your support. Ruby Faye Woolridge for District 6.
Thanks, Ruby. And honestly, that's my view of this as well, that I'm running to, there are a lot of people in Arlington that are just not being heard and represented in the city council right now. My sense is that they are there and they feel like they are the representatives of the city of Arlington, but they are not representative of the city of Arlington. I'm running to actually represent the people in Arlington. They may not all look like me. They may not all have my background of experience, of economic background, but their voices matter too in this, and they need to be heard, as Ruby was saying. That's exactly why I'm running, because a lot of the people who've been on the council in the past seem to want to remake the city in their image, and this city just doesn't, overwhelmingly, it does not look like they did. Economically, just racially, religiously, we are a much more diverse city than our city council has actually reflected over the past few years. And it is time that we actually change that and hear a lot more voices represented.
Hey, JJ, can I ask a question about litigation? Sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So you mentioned that it went to the forward, the appeals court, they denied the overturn or whatever, and we're still waiting to hear back from a second appeals court or something. I'm unfamiliar with the court process, so like, is this like the final level, or is like, are there options to explore within the court system regarding the injunction after this final ruling is heard?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And as it was, I kind of left out kind of the follow-on portion to that. So what happened is we have not been denied anything in appeals court so far. We did have a motion to reconsider in district court, and that was for the judge there to reconsider his decision not to grant the injunction, which was his initial decision. And giving him the second opportunity to reconsider, he still decided that he was not going to grant the injunction. The case for the injunction was heard in the second appeals court, or I'm sorry, the third appeals court in Arlington. They have not yet ruled on that, so we're waiting on that, and that is only for the injunction at this point. So even if we do lose the injunction fight, the case would still go forward. It just means that the city would be allowed to enforce the ordinance, until it's heard in court and a decision is made there. The injunction would force the city to take steps that would prohibit them from enforcing at least certain parts of the ordinance until it is heard in court, and then that final court hearing would then decide the ultimate fate of the ordinance. So that's kind of where we're at. And that final hearing is probably going to be a ways down the road, which is why the appeals court decision on this injunction is really, really important. Because if they don't enjoin this ordinance, we're essentially stuck with this ordinance as law here in Arlington until there's a hearing, which could be and probably will be sometime in 2021.